Plaintiff David Kanicki works with the defendant, and he claims the defendant lied about having a sick family member so David would rent a car for him. David says after he rented the vehicle for the defendant, he failed to pay for it, so David's suing. Defendant Justin Mack insists his grandmother was sick, but he claims David knew he needed the car for an event for his sorority. Justin says he intended on paying David for the rental car until he called Justin a homophobic slur at their office.
Start with you.
All right. Well, Your Honor, I fell for one of the oldest tricks in the book. I watched your show, so I really shouldn't have fallen for it, but I did. Basically what happened, just a brief overview. He told me that one of his family members was sick. And
Where do you know him from?
I'm sorry?
Where do you know him from?
Oh, we work together. We're coworkers.
Go ahead.
I know him for about a year. Anyways, so he told me one of his family members was sick, and for a time I believed him because I actually just went through 2 losses of my own. Both my grandmothers died, and it was a very hard time. And so I was taken in by it. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and the circumstance perpetuated itself. What ended up happening is after a long time, about a month and a half, I eventually confronted him about it. I went to the hospital, basically where this was all supposed to be taking place, and I asked, I was like, well, can I, go see this person? And lo and behold, nobody was there. There was no such person, there was no anything like that. And let me tell you, I was extremely mad.
What did he say?
It's really hard because he would duck, he would dodge and never answer my calls or text messages or anything like that. And so the only time I could ever kind of ask him about it was kind of at work or something like that. But he basically said, well, it is what it is, and that's kind of how that happened.
He didn't say I lied or I didn't. The person was released early. He didn't have a new story for you?
No, unfortunately, he did not. So he told me one of his family members was sick, and I eventually confronted him about it. I went to the hospital, basically where this was all supposed to be taking place, and I asked, I was like, well, can I, go see this person? And lo and behold, nobody was there. There was no such person.
And he didn't say I lied or I didn't. The person was released early. He didn't have a new story for you?
No, unfortunately, he did not.
Plaintiff David Kanicki works with a defendant who claims after David rented a car for him, he called him a homophobic slur at their office.
Let me hear from you, sir, before we get to the specifics of this breach of contract loan.
Okay, Your Honor. Basically, how it started was, first of all, I asked him to rent me a car because I needed it for the ballroom. It's like a sorority or a frat house in the gay community, which we just compete against each other in different categories, and we educate ages 16 to 21 with HIV and STDs. So I was having my own event, and I asked Dave Kanicki to rent me the car. He agreed to rent me the car in February.
For how long were you to rent?
I needed it for a week, and then I just needed it longer, which I asked him if I could have it longer. So I ended up returning the car back in March.
Was someone in the hospital?
My grandma did get sick.
So you're talking about something totally different.
But that's not the reason why I asked him talking about my grandmother in the hospital has nothing to do with the car.
Oh, you never mentioned that with regard to the issue in hand, money.
Well, he asked me about where the car was. Where am I at with the car? I told him I'm at the hospital.
Oh, that was
but it has nothing to do with the issue with the car.
And when he came there, you weren't there?
No.
Your Honor, that is incorrect.
Was your grandmother there at all?
Yes, my grandma was in the hospital.
Okay, all right, so we're done with that. You say you were telling the truth. He says he went there and it was a lie. But we do know that he rented the car on your behalf.
Yes.
You say he told you could extend it.
Yes.
All right, good enough. And what has happened since that time? He extended it?
He extended it, and that was supposed to be for another week or so. And then I asked for it. I was like, hey, what's going on with this? And he kept on.
He was just him and Hall.
You said him and Hall. He wasn't showed up to work, and he wasn't answering text messages or phone calls.
That man wasn't dodging work because of you.
Well, no, not necessarily because of me. Maybe to perpetuate the circumstance, he had to keep covering his story or whatever. But it is what it is.
Wasn't stopping to go into work for that. You have a copy of the car rental agreement or the cost of the car rental?
That's the receipt for the cost of the car rental, and I also have a breakdown of the costs.
Okay. Now this says $1,940.
That's correct. He made 2 payments up front, $200.
Right.
And then he made an additional payment on April 15th.
Afterwards.
Correct. For $285. He did sign an agreement before then, on April 3rd.
With the rental car or with you?
With me. It was a promissory note. And
let's see it.
All right. And it was supposed to be.
He hasn't fulfilled it. Sir, you owe this money, and if so, why haven't you paid it?
I was going to give him the money. Granted, I was. he ended up being impatient and harassed me at work regarding it. This issue has nothing to do with work. So why are you bringing it up to me at work?
Did you intend to pay him?
Little by little, over time.
That's not what this says. We have agreed this will be paid by June, and this was in April.
It's been a rough year.
Oh, it's been a rough year. Okay. Now you're talking to me like he was talking to you. I got you. That's how he was talking to you.
No.
Is that your only defense, sir? It's been a rough year.
No, I mean,
It's about to get rougher.
Well, besides the fact of him harassing me at work, which I have no.
How did he harass you?
Asking me every day, Justin, where's my money at? I need my money.
What would you tell him every day?
I said, leave me alone. This has nothing to do with work.
Your Honor,
No,
no.
that's what collection agencies do. But if you tell them, leave me alone, they're going to call you back.
It just became very uncomfortable at work because he started bringing the issue into work, which made me very uncomfortable. So then me and him ended up getting into an altercation, which he called me out my name due to my sexual reference. It ends with agate and starts with F.
Oh, Your Honor, that is completely incorrect. I would never do something
What'd you
like that.
do?
So, if back
You let it go?
back in my younger day,
You're not that old now. How old are you?
if I ain't find Jesus,
How old are
I'm
you?
21.
All right, what did you do?
So basically,
Did you go and tell the boss? What did you do?
Yeah, I brought the issue up to HR.
What did
and
they say?
They told me that if he bring up
Your Honor,
anything that has to do with outside of work, to let them know immediately, and that will be taken care of.
Did you say he did bring it up?
Yes, I told him that he did bring
And
it up.
they said, wait till we do it again.
Yeah, I have to
That
wait.
was their response.
Yes.
They say, well, wait till he calls you that 3 or 4 times.
He's telling stories
look
again.
into it. You need to sue them if that's the response you got, because they have a duty to look into that and ask the fellow employee if he did that, and then get a statement from him. Did they do that?
Which they did. Yes, they put me in the office
Well,
first.
they didn't just say
Then
if he
they
does
put
it
him-
again.
then they put
did
him in
speak to you?
office.
They spoke to me, but it was about something completely different. Basically, what happened is he got served at work for the court papers, and they asked me about it, and they said, just don't talk about any of the court cases because it's now illegal.
No, we're
matter.
talking about the gay slur. Did you?
No,
make a
Your
gay
Honor. I would
slur
never say
against
something
him in
like that.
public?
I'm not homophobic in any way. I have many gay friends.
That has nothing with disrespecting me.
Right. Well, I would never do that to anybody. I would never call them names like that. He's telling stories again, Your Honor.
Girl.
All right.
So then me and him ended up getting into an altercation, which he called me out my name. He ends with agate and starts with F.
Oh, Your Honor, that is completely incorrect. I would never do something
What'd you
like that.
do?
So, if back
You let it go?
back in my younger day,
You're not that old now. How old are you?
if I ain't find Jesus,
How old are
I'm
you?
21.
All right, what did you do?
Plaintiff David Kanicki works with a defendant who claims after David rented a car for him, he called him a homophobic slur at their office.
I'm not convinced that you necessarily did that, but I always use that as an opportunity to say that the homosexual slurs, racial slurs, certain other language could provoke violence.
Right.
And I think that they should be considered hate language.
Absolutely.
Because of that reason. For example, people say there's the freedom of expression and right to free speech. Well, if you're in a movie theater and they yelled fire and there was no fire, they were prosecuted and jailed.
Oh.
Because it caused an uproar and people were running over each other and it caused public disruption. So, by the same token, if you yell out the wrong thing to somebody, particularly a racial slur or a homosexual slur, then it's more likely than not that you're going to provoke some violence. Right. All right? I'm not convinced that you did that. You don't come across as mean-spirited, and those are the type of folks who do that. Judgment for the plaintiff, $1,456 for the plaintiff. Have a good day.
I just think that was a little. I'm not a homophobic person, Justin, and you know.
I know, but it was just you got mad and you said what you said.
I would never say that. That's very ridiculous, Justin.
Girl.
And it's national television. Why would you say something like
Girl. I still love him. That's my.
that? We're still friends. It's not a big deal. It's
my
just
world.
money. So
It's just. We're fine.
if I really said that, he wouldn't be mad. He wouldn't be my friend, Justin.
After beating you up, I would be.